Hello and welcome to my firemaking guide. Basically, I'll just be showing you the best method to currently burn logs and which log you should burn based on opportunity costs. The method I will be showing you will have a familiar and you're using the log on the familiar and lighting the log in your inventory at the same time. And to do this, you need 46 summoning to use the familiar, which is the Pyre Lord. And obviously you need things like the logs and a tinderbox and stuff like that, but that's kind of obvious, and so I'm just going to leave those out of the requirements, but you do need 46 summoning. So basically you'll be set up like this. You'll have your Pyre Lord out right there, and it really doesn't matter where it is at this point. I mean, it could be there for all I care. You'll see in a bit, and then you'll just have all your logs, obviously, and then you want your tinderbox in your tool belt. Mine's in there somewhere, right there. And then if you have them, you want to wear the Ring of Fire and the Flame Gloves. These just give experience bonuses, so you might as well use them if you have them. And they require certain levels of fire making from the beacon lighting network. So if you have them, obviously just use them. Now, your Pyre Lord will be somewhere around you. It doesn't really matter where. Basically, you want to get onto the north side. And so basically you just click right there, and your character will go on the north side. And it doesn't matter, you could be north or south, but you just want to be on one side. And then what you want to do is you want to use these on your Pirate Lord, and then after about a second, you light your own. And this takes a little bit of practice, but once you get used to it, it goes very quickly, as you can see. Lighting these logs much faster than I would normally, and since I am using a Pyre Lord, I get a 10 experience boost per log, and that obviously adds up quite quickly. And as you can see, it's not right after, so you do have to wait a little bit once you get here. And as you can see there, I kind of messed up. And if you have sounds on, it's a little bit easier. It's making kind of like a whooshing kind of sound once you use it on it. And at the very end of that sounds when you're supposed to use the light option for yourself. So if you do this right, it can obviously go very quickly. I'm a little distracted right now because I am talking as well. But if you do this right, it goes very quickly, and if you do it wrong, it goes quite slowly. But once you do a little bit of practice with it, it gets a lot faster, and basically it's the fastest way to firelight. And then obviously once you run out of an inventory, then you just go bank and grab some more logs, and I'll just show you getting set up again. You just run over. Personally, I like this area. You got to get out of. See, there's a box right there, so you don't want to run that far over. And so right there, that looks good. And you just start the process all over again. And you do kind of have to be careful if you're doing it here, because there will be occasionally people that get in the way. But in general, this is a pretty good spot to do it. I'll list a few other spots when I actually make the rest of the video. But this is a good spot to do it. This is just the Fist of Guthix or Guthix lobby. And obviously there's a bank right there. And basically you just want to be close to a bank and have a lot of room to your west. So wherever that's possible, just do it that way. And so basically I recorded myself doing both methods a few times, and I came out that like normal firemaking where you just kind of light the log and you go one step west and you just light the next log, and goes on and on. 123 seconds was my fastest for 28 logs. And with the familiar, I got down to 66 seconds, and I'll show you the clips of both of those in a bit. And it's 69 seconds average, by the way, and so it is quite a bit faster. It's almost 20% faster, which adds up over time. I know it doesn't really seem like it's like, oh, it's only like 15, 16 seconds difference, but over time, when you do this, 100 times for the logs, or depending on how many times you're doing it, you could do it up to over 1,000, depending on what level you're going for, then it really becomes important that you actually do the other method. Because if you think about, if you're doing this 1,000 times, that's 1,000 minutes. Whereas if you're doing this, so it's 1,000 minutes plus about another few thousand seconds, so like 1,100 minutes or something like that. I'm not going to actually try to do the math in my head right now. But with the slower firemaking method, which you're seeing right now, it takes just a lot longer. It's not only something like, I don't know, 1,500 minutes or something like that. And it's just a lot slower, and makes it a lot harder for you to keep doing it for a long period of time. So I really advise using this method. And it just makes it so much faster, so much easier. You should always use a familiar, by the way. I mean, it always gives plus 10 no matter what you're doing. And so even if you're going to do the slower method, I still advise using the familiar. The only disadvantage to using this method, which you're seeing now, is that it does take a lot more concentration, a lot more practice, and messing up can make it a little bit slower, but it is so worthwhile. 20% faster is nothing to laugh at. It is an amazing speed increase over any other method. And there are a few things you can do to increase it, like you can go in your house and use like the house teleport and your butler to go get stuff and stuff like that. But that's if you really want to go extreme. And this is a pretty simple but pretty effective method, and it's just banking and running back and forth. So I see no reason why you shouldn't do it, and it's really just quite simple to do. And here I got a random, which was annoying, but I just cut it out, and basically it still was my fastest trip at about 66 seconds, so it was quite quick. And there's the end of it. So for those of you that remember my prayer guide, and I know a lot of you came because of that, but I'll explain the idea of opportunity costs again for those that you who haven't seen it yet. It's basically opportunity costs. When you're doing something like firemaking or prayer, you're not doing something else. So when you're doing that, you're spending time instead of doing something like money making, which you could be doing instead, right? So that's the entire idea of opportunity costs. So what do you give up to do what you're doing? So if you're doing money making instead, then you kind of think about it like this. So across the top, basically, it's 500K, 1 mil, 1.5, 2, 2.5, and 3 mil per hour. And that's whatever you value your personal time at. And then on the side, I have the Maple, U, and Magic logs. I know there's lower types of logs, but these are the main three that people tend to use. Maple for cheapness, U for kind of an in-between, and Magic for speed. And basically, what you see is that really what is the true fastest for you based on the amount of money you make. See, if you're doing just maples, you're actually spending 2.2 or 3 mil if you're only making 500K per hour, because you're spending so much time doing the fire making that you don't have the opportunity to make that money. And so you can just kind of look there and position yourself on that list and make a decision for yourself. Now, obviously on this list, Magic logs only really become effective at about between 2.5 and 3 mil per hour. So even though you can use Magic logs, just keep in mind that's not actually the most efficient for you. Now, if you really don't care about your money and you just want to get or you don't care about getting the money back and things like that, then go ahead and use Magic logs. If you just have the bank and you have like a party hat sitting around or something, go ahead. But this is if you want to be able to be the most efficient in terms of the amount of money and amount of experience you're getting, this is the technical most efficient way to do it. Another thing people always wonder about is the ultimate experience rate. These are experience rates I calculated based on 66 seconds per log, which translates into 1,527 logs per hour, and with complete max experience. So that means the ring, the gloves, and the familiar. And it comes out to this, which is, you could just read those off yourself there. And so that's pretty good experience for all three, especially Magic, obviously. And this isn't the technical fastest that could be achieved, but it is pretty fast. And I think people can technically achieve 600K with Magic logs, but obviously that's getting pretty close. Thanks for watching. I hope it helped. Good luck fire making. tomorrow I will be releasing hopefully a guide on the Rogue's Den, which I'm hoping is released tomorrow. And on Thursday, I will be having a new achievement diary episode with obviously a few firemaking levels. And subscribe for those, please, and rate and comment on this video. It does help.